life is teeming. So vibrant, the greens and the pollen and the dog and the leaf blowing and this new shadowscape that comes in when the foliage flushes out. It's so luscious. We have a beautiful backyard. Some might call it untamed, as I'm looking at the weeds that are a couple feet tall right now, and when the clouds move and the whole shadow light pattern shifts, it's felt as a mood. This is a total aside. Here comes a weed whacker, so that may be a different mood. So as I work more with people in this realm, I am newly kind of naming what I've always done with healing work, with therapy, with group work. I've always done under the guise of, well, maybe it's not a guise, but under the umbrella of particular thing. Trauma healing, emotion regulation, mindfulness, grief, all of these modalities that there's been some training in. It's all been integrated and it all comes up in the healing process of how I work with people. But what's healing, what's felt and known to be healing, is meeting the unfolding experience and allowing the separation from that, the identification, the objectification, to be recontextualized, to be digested and reassimilated, to bring to consciousness those forms that we learned in childhood and adulthood, yesterday, the belief structures, the belief that noise is a bad noise and it pulls me out of focus, like that separation that could ever possibly happen, that never actually does happen. But all of that buy-in, like the healing, that I can only share what I know. With my clients, with my patients, it would be unethical, and beyond ethics, it would just be impossible to work with someone on psychological process, wound healing, attachment healing, in any other way for me than is effective, because I don't know if you know therapists, if you're not working effectively with someone, you burn out as much as they do. So awakening, if you want to call it that, non-dual realization, like the just thisness, is healing. And that is so misleading when I say that, because it's not a thing. And it's a fundamental reorientation to trust life as it's revealing itself to you. So it feels like my aside is actually coming into what wants to be talked about. Interesting. In that how does this want to be shared? The awakening is now. I don't have much memory of anything else. I don't have memory that's clear on non-dual vocabulary. I don't have memory that's clear on my story of awakening that is often asked about. Innocently, it's totally understandable. There's curiosity, and we love stories. Stories are entertaining. That story, that thought, those concepts are not this. The awakening is the weed whacker, because it's here, it's now, it's seeing and feeling and being as and with. And often awakening is talked about as an undoing here as well, because I don't have, it's not, when we talk about it, it becomes it becomes a thing we can pin down. So when I talk about it, I'm no better than anyone else. But calling it an undoing is also misleading, because that feels like a task. To undo this self, to undo this separation, to undo the conditioning. It's closer than other language, like striving, maybe, or maybe even awakening, because awakening feels like a word that you can practice and work up to. You can snap yourself out of bed and wake up. You can't cause awakening because we're already awake. Here it comes closer. I might have to end this video if it's not audible. I won't remember what I'm talking about after I end this video. There isn't a collection of concepts or things that can be held on to in this. This is not a school of thought. This is not a practice. This is not a thing. If anything, there is it is realizing that we're already awake. That is maybe as close as I can in this moment name. Everything that is seen in awakening is already seen right now. We just don't realize we can see it because we're not. We're already awake. You're already awake. Right now. It's always the right now. And all of these ways that we conceptualize and pull out of the right now and think about, oh, that really cool thing that I can talk about or get or process. That really cool non-thing that I can undo to achieve. Someone recently asked me in a group, was driving part of my process to awaken, and the memory is coming back now because my answer was no. I wasn't looking for awakening. I wasn't looking for the totality of suffering that cracked open this identity, this me that thought that anywhere other than right here, right now was better, even though it could never get away from right here, right now. That process of dancing around, pretending to be able to dance around the right here, right now was and is in its own shadows of it now and ways that it comes in and out. Felt so real. Felt so much a part of my life. It was. And so losing that I never wanted that. I never sought that. And what was forgotten until after that group, and when I shared that, was that awakening catalyzed this process. That language is misleading, but whatever. And then kind of getting into the world of non-duality was lovely in one way, and another way it kind of opened some seeking here around these kind of addictive, enticing concepts around these. And it's no different than any other religion or any other kind of escape. I'm not saying religions or pleasures or hobbies or people or anything or good or bad that also could take away from the awakeness that is already here. But there can still be this habituated responses, and noticing that there's something very seductive about talking about this that pulls us out of what's actually being pointed to, what's actually being trying to be named, that could never be named. It can never be named. And so that there's, I think, always where I'm drawn to working with people, because that is the aliveness here, not for everybody, but in really exploring the now, like this. Not some concept of you cracking open your shell and becoming a butterfly that blossoms into this beautiful being that's different, but like really digging in with you and what's already here. That's what I'm doing. I've always done that work. In some ways it's even trickier in the non-dual framework to try to talk about it. So I don't know, I'll be very interested to see how this shapes into whatever it's shaping into. But I just want to reiterate that I'm not interested in teaching anyone anything. I'm not interested in teaching anyone about the awakening process or path or concepts. Not that there's judgment on them or that they're unhelpful at times. But here, the awakening is right now. And it really is a real, true realization that awakening can unfold for people and profoundly shift, and that is the lived experience here. It's a lived experience, though. It can't be anywhere other than right now. So if you meet with me, if you meet with someone else who's interested in non-duality, that's guiding, mentoring, sharing, whatever, just be prepared for what's right here. could ever be prepared, but I guess I see a lot of ways in which even in this realm we're avoiding what's here.